Hey everyone, we're going to unbox a Bogen TAMB, we call it TAMB2, or it's TAMB2. I think the PS means it comes with the power supply. So I just got this little guy, and the reason I need this, or why you might need this, is sometimes your paging needs are more complex than simply just taking the audio output from a PBX or some kind of phone system and hooking it directly up to the amplifier. Sometimes you need more complex handling of that, and that's what this device does. So let's see what we have. Oh good, an owner's manual. I'll read that later, of course. Alright, so this is the unit right here. Okay, we'll look at that in just 1 second. Let's see what else is in the box. And now you can buy this with or without a power supply. I chose to buy it with a power supply, so that's what's there, the power supply. For some reason, I noticed this trend now with a lot of power supplies where they ship them with the, oh no, this one's not like that. I was gonna say a lot of times they would ship them with these connectors disconnected. You have to go in and put them on, but I was seeing something else. Okay, so there's my power supply. It's got some 2 raw stripped leads there. It's a 24 volt power supply. Anything else? Yeah, we got a few little miscellaneous connectors that are going to go in this section. And also there is some ear mounts, those little L-shaped metal brackets that you would use to... you could do one of two things. You could either mount it in a rack, although this would be kind of short for a 19-inch rack mount. But they go on the edge here. And you can put them like back here, and you can wall mount this, or you can put them up in the front, and you can rack mount it. Now the way I saw it done is that when you have more than one of these, you can connect 2 of them in the middle somehow, I think by using this little guy, and then you put 2 side by side, and then they fit into a rack. Okay, so there's your little ears. All right, so what is this thing, and why might you need it? So remember I said this is when you have a more complex paging environment. All right, so let's go through what this does. So you've got a series of dip switches over here on the left which control the behavior of these different dials and inputs. So for instance, there's about 5 different ways you can send a page signal to an amplifier. You can do the most obvious, which is just an audio out, which is nothing more than just a line level audio which goes directly into the amplifier. That's the simplest. Then what's most common with telephone systems is you take either a trunk port, meaning like one of the phone lines, and use it as a paging port. So for instance, if you had 2 phone lines with telephone lines on them and you had a third line, you could use that third line as your way of sending a signal to the paging amp. Oh, and by the way, this is not a paging amp. This is just a controller. It's not a paging amp. It will not amplify anything. So if you got this for paging, you need also an amplifier. The second way you could do it is you can use a station port, or the third way you could do it is use a station port where you actually ring into this unit and the unit will answer, and then you can start paging. Another way you can do it, the fourth way would be ground start. Ground start is like the thing I told you about with the trunk, except that most trunks are what they call a loop start. So ground start is another way of opening up a trunk to signal that you're ready to send information. Anyway, so back to this. So you got your dip switches. There's in the manual talks about what those things do. You've got your paging timer, and that's to set the maximum amount of time that the paging amp can be accessed, because sometimes people leave phones off hook after they page, so this automatically disables that after, say, whatever. I think each one of these little clicks represents 1 second. So, but then also in addition to that, there's also a Vox delay. That means how long will it monitor for silence. Yeah, actually I might have told you that backwards. This timer, min and max, may not actually be in seconds. This one, Vox delay, is in seconds, meaning that if you set it for, say, like 3 seconds, it means if it detects 3 seconds of silence, it kills the page. Now tone, this kind of threw me a little bit, because usually in the audio world, tone typically means like treble or bass, but that's actually, I believe, the level of the input. So for instance, your input to this device would come in through the station or trunk port, or it could even come in through one of these, but the level, the adjusting the level would be done here at tone. And then also music. So for instance, you could have your phone input coming here, you could have your music input coming in here, and then you could have your music adjustment leveled one way and your tone separately. So meaning your voice and your music can be two different levels. Okay, page out, well, that's pretty much the signal that's now been processed and ready to be sent to the amplifier. And contact closures, now what contact closures are is that some phone systems will send like literally close a contact or close a circuit to tell the amplifier, hey, we want to kill the music so that the person can make a page. Now this device will do that too anyway, but this is another way of signaling the amplifier, hey, we're ready to make a page. And then lastly, we've got your power input, 24 volts DC. So that is that. I'm going to hook this guy up at some point, and maybe we'll take a look at this later on and show you the different ways you can send paging and different ways you can wire this up. All right, thanks for watching.